Hi. My name is Marc Gartman. You may remember me from the Coyote Kickstarter video. I like that riff. I'm also the driver of the Too Many Banjos band. Come along with us. Faye and Scene.
If you were to describe Marc in a few words or a phrase to someone who'd never met him, how would you describe him?
Well, that's a tough one. Let's see.
I don't know how to sum up Marc in a one phrase if somebody didn't know him.
Or your favorite story. There's a quintessential moment.
He is himself. This is who I am, now deal with me.
Outgoing. I think he asks for what he wants.
The first word that comes to mind is prolific.
Innovative, collaborative, lightning rod.
Fascinating and complicated individual, and I very much like him and value his friendship.
Charismatic and ridiculous.
Musical mentor.
Very businesslike, very straightforward, very cool, and just a nice guy.
No, I don't know. I'm not sure if I could say it on camera without regretting it later.
Sort of this weird, a couple guys look at me, this sort of, who are you? Exactly. I'm just me.
What does the devil want from me? That he's always tugging at my bellowy sleeve. Did I sell him my soul when I was young? Is he back to claim what he rightfully won?
The first time I heard about Duluth was just because I was a huge Lowe fan. I was a Lowe fanatic. I was in New York, and an old dear friend of me told me to pick up the Lowe record Curtain Hits the Cast. And at first I didn't get it. I was just like, I know 3 chords too, what's the big deal? But then over time, I would keep going back to the record and listen a little further and listen a little further, and then eventually I was like, okay, this is amazing. This is actually totally genius. I wanted to make a documentary on them because I was so moved by their music that I couldn't understand that there were actually people behind this making music. I'm like, I don't understand. I just loved it so much. And so that was the first time that I'd heard of Duluth, because that's where it said, Lowe was from Duluth, and that's where their old post office box was. I got together a couple friends, and we went out and got some cameras, and we were shooting some shows. And I was so scared of them, and they were scared of me. I didn't even talk to them. I saw Mim and Zach, and I'm like, oh my God, there's Mim. And then we became friends. So finished that documentary about them, and that was 99, 2000. So a long time ago, I got to play a banjo on Trust, and I was so nervous I couldn't believe it. I was playing on a Lowe record, Jesus. And I remember talking to myself in the mirror, psyching myself up, being like, "You're gonna do this. You're gonna do a great job, and it's gonna be great." Just so nervous. And then Zach, this was when Zach was still in the band. Zach came out, just like, "Just relax, man. You got this." I'm like, and as soon as someone tells you to relax, you know that you're nervous. And it's like, oh, I know. I'll just relax. I'm just relaxing. I'm relaxed. I'm totally relaxed. I was a child. I was just visiting Duluth, but something must have unconsciously been brewing in my brain saying, like, this would be a cool place to live.
I thought it was kind of funny because, you know, why would someone from New York City sort of find fascination with moving to a small, cold town?
This was back in about 2005. There were various instances of photoshopping Marc Gartman that went on Perfect Duluth Day. Marc Gartman, the rock climber, Marc Gartman, the sprinter, Marc Gartman, the crazed feminist tank thrower. I don't know what it was about Marc Gartman that made people want to Photoshop him into weird scenes, but there is, I guess, an element of his personality that just lends itself to that.
It was a hard transition. There was like almost like a hazing period where am I gonna be able to make it through? Like, this is just so weird. People are so different than what I'm used to.
He just said whatever was on his mind. He didn't like beat around the bush, which people here aren't used to, and some people can't handle it.
I was raised in a family where people communicate very verbally, and here, that's not the case. But people do communicate quite a bit, but they communicate with their bodies and their energy and stuff like that.
Dr. Katz. Remember that show on comedy? Tim has all the seasons of Dr. Katz, and Mark asked to borrow them. We're like, why do you want to borrow Dr. Katz? And he said, there's things about this show that remind me of being at home. And if I watch it, I won't be as homesick to go home.
There were definitely some points in the beginning where I did not think I was going to stay, that this was just not going to work for me.
He was a cowboy hat wearing Jewish guy from New York. And so all of those things did not represent Duluth culture at all. Yet Marc Gartman managed to fall completely into Duluth culture. Duluth embraced Marc Gartman and Marc Gartman embraced Duluth.
There must have been something in the water because my creative juices were flowing. And I was writing and I was putting together a band and things were going really well.
Gartman came to town and sort of went around and saw shows and kind of handpicked people that he'd want to play with. And so it was interesting that a lot of the people that I work with now are people that he found first. So I kind of stole his thing.
You talk about No Wait Wait. You talk about work with Low. You talk about work with Too Many Banjos, of course. Everything that Marc has done over the years. He's doing things that people aren't doing.
He can write tunes and compose in so many different styles, sort of. He can do whatever he puts his mind to, and he does it really well.
I think Marc Gartman is kind of a Pied Piper in the local music scene, just fearless. And that fearless example, I think, says a lot and encourages other people to try things.
Marc is a really good band leader, and he's writing the songs, and he's booking the gigs, and he's driving the van, and, calling the venue. He's a highly motivated guy that gets things done.
It's a noble endeavor. To me, I've always loved and respected the working man's angle of music. Just get out there and do it. It's going to improve. It's going to blossom. Too Many Banjos, that was definitely probably the longest running thing that he's done.
Trampled was my first band, and so technically the Too Many Banjos was my second band. And his personality was just like, it was fun to hang out with him, and you know, and we were doing this thing with just the two banjos for a while, and it just kind of grew.
It started out with more of a traditional bluegrass setup. When I came in and when Lefty came into the band, we started to sort of build on in a new direction.
He heard that I do percussion and he asked me to join along.
It was so fun. We had so many songs and just we recorded so many records.
1, 2, 3, 4.
He became really quickly a musical mentor, I would call it, to me, because his songs, they're all very different than what I'd been playing. So immediately I'm like using way more of the banjo neck than I was, you know, with the Turtles. And they're all crazy chords, so weird and just like very fun and challenging to play.
He was constantly writing songs, always coming up with new stuff.
In Too Many Banjos, it seemed like he had a new song every day. We collectively wrote a song together, sort of. And we were just kind of messing around with banjos and came up with just kind of a melody. And then he was just like, all right, well, let's put some words to it. And he just started like writing stuff down, and literally an hour after we even started doing anything, we had a song. I was like, wow, it's that easy? And then I would try it, and I just, nope, not that easy.
You can't really pigeonhole him into one style of music, and I think he himself is always changing.
I played in different types of bands with him where he's written different types of tunes, you know, completely from a folk band and coyote to bluegrass, some free music and some improv. We've kind of run pretty much the whole gamut.
I write songs about anything. Like, he wrote a song about a guy who decided one day he wanted to like remove both of his eyeballs and put one big one in and become this Cyclops man, and that was then a song. And there's much deeper songs than that.
We spent a good 2.5, 3 years on the road, playing with Too Many Banjos.
For a really long time, it was Matt Mobley and Lefty and Mark and I traveling around in bands.
We'd leave town on a Thursday and come back on a Sunday every week. It was kind of nice after a while. If you keep doing these little tours, it grows, you know, the crowds grow, people get to know you.
We had just so many powerful shows, the band sounding just so tight, just the telepathic stuff that happens. There were a lot of those moments, you know, and those are really addictive.
A couple of those years was like doing like 180 shows in a year with both bands. And I remember at one point I was like, this is too much, I can't do this many. And he was like, do what you can. So he made things really easy on me.
For me, it was my main thing for a number of years, and we were playing a lot, especially Mark and I, because we played, no matter what the version of Too Many Banjos it was most certainly always him and I, and then him and I and Lefty like 99% of the time.
It was one of my most favorite music experiences as far as like hitting the road. I've never done that with another group before.
I've been driving all night long.
Mark and I, through playing together, we really built a bond musically and an interesting friendship that, you know, I cherished and I still do there. The highlight and the challenge is being on the road in a band. And Too Many Banjos, we were a traveling band. I mean, we were just road dogs for a couple of years. And as you can imagine, being stuck in a van with the same 3 to 5 people all the time, you got to find your own little space, you know, to clear your head and be alone.
Mark, he was in the driver's seat, literally, quite literally. The leader, the songwriter, the booker, the driver.
I've been driving down the beach.
Sometimes came across like I don't really want to be influenced by your opinion very much. Things like that were tough.
Like any musician or any artist, you kind of have this dream your whole life, you know, that things are going to work out a certain way, and you know, the story might not unfold like you thought it would.
I just had this very romantic ideal about being in a band, driving around, driving my Chevy van. And there were some good times, but for the last year or so, it was mostly really difficult times. For me, it was very hard. I was not enjoying, and I think the other guys in the band would probably agree with me that Marc was not having a very good time. There was this one moment when we were driving, and it was an important moment in the band because I got a text from Matt, and he was sitting in the back, and it was a text that was actually meant for Lefty, sitting right here. But since it was a text about me, he accidentally sent it to me. You know, it's like a mistaken text. And it was a text talking about how he hated the music that I was playing, and a couple other comments about me as well. But it was really wonderful in a way, because what it did was I dropped everybody off and said, we got to talk, you know? Do you want to go first or should I go first? And he's like, I'll go first. It was great. And so for the first time in forever, we were able to have an honest conversation with one another about how we were feeling about what we were doing in the band and how we did not want to be doing it anymore. So at that point, we decided that we were just going to do a couple more shows to finish this thing off and stop. Distracted by those rays, dreaming of white
When he said he wanted to move out, I was like, oh man, like I was so bummed. Like one of my best friends, not my best friend.
I remember being skeptical and thinking like, oh, there's no place you could possibly go that's going to be more satisfying and make you more happy than Duluth. But I don't know, I guess that's the opposite of what I thought maybe when he first came here, so maybe that's good.
He moved all around, and if he feels like it's time for him to move, then it's time for him to go. But the nature of life is transitory, so nothing is ever forever anyways.
So what brought you back to Duluth, do you think?
Defeat. I lost. I got an F. I came back with my tail between my legs. I wanted the move to be the beginning of my new life, and I couldn't wait to leave. I got out there and I had support, much like I have support here. I had a place to stay, but the anxiety in me was increasing, and I couldn't stand still anymore. And I went to my roommate, whatever the person I was staying with, I was like, I think I'm going back to Duluth. She's like, no kidding, when? Today. Today? You should stay at least for a couple more weeks for this festival coming up. I'm like, no, I'm leaving today. I'm leaving today. I'm packing my stuff up and I'm going today. What I was planning on doing was coming back and starting up the band again. I put a Craigslist on for some new, a new bass player, and booked some shows, some out-of-town shows, and then I canceled everything. I just don't want to do music, really. The other day, I was going to play some Too Many Banjo songs with Nick, the old mandolin player, and I just took them out to just practice them real quick, and oh man, was I not going to do that. It was like, it totally felt like, and this is kind of gross, whatever, but it felt like masturbating to pictures of my ex-girlfriends. It was like, what are you, don't do that. That's not good. Stop doing that. My desire to play music is only to share it with other people. sharing that connection with someone else is good. But take that away, and right now I'm very angry at music. I'm scolding music like a child. You stay there and you think about how you failed me. That's how I feel about music right now. I made you food, I got you clothes and gave you a warm home. I smothered you with love and attention, let you go in any direction you wanted to. And what did you give me? Grief.
Well, here's a song about moving away from Duluth and then coming back. Keeping tabs on the way things seem to go always brings me back to the place that I know. If it's true that I'm looking to be found, then it's time to look in another town.
Basically the last song that I wrote that I enjoy playing on the banjo was that song Another Town. But since that was the last song that I wrote that I enjoyed, it's kind of getting really tough for me to play. And the meaning's all complicated because it's all about me leaving here. And now I'm back here, so it's like, oh, weird. But then at the same time, who cares? It's a stupid song and no one's listening. Everyone's just out there eating their eggs. So. For a while there, I thought I was going to make my living from being a professional musician. And a few months ago, I realized that I'm not. It wasn't easy being a musician, but at least, that's what I was doing, and I could define myself as a musician. I can't really define myself very easily anymore. Come up to the house, come up to the house. I'll even write my address down, come up to the house. I don't know if I can name the chapter, this chapter of my life, but it has a lot to do with getting healthy. It's not as cool as saying like, oh, I've been a meth addict for 3 years and now I'm trying to get clean. It's like, no, it's not that drastic. But the things that I was doing before none of them are working anymore. The one thing that I do have is I have friends. That's still working, and Duluth is still working. Duluth to me is like one big giant mental hospital grounds, and I can stay on the grounds here and go off on these nice hikes and like try and get some work, but I have to stay within the confines of Duluth, and I make some money and I get my little place to stay and I go grocery shopping, but it's all about getting healthy. No more negative things. Come in the bathroom, see what I'm on. Come with me. Taking a B complex with C. These things are stinky. And the controversial Lexapro. And I've been on the Lexapro for probably a week now. I think it's starting to kick in a little.
What's the difference?
For me, the difference is the amount of anxiety. It's just a heart racing, unable to relax, almost coming to tears, just unable to get out of bed, fear of getting out of bed, fear of facing the day. because I am my father's son and my sister's brother and stuff like that, and we suffer from depression. I think I'm the happiest, you know, I'm a task-oriented guy. So I'd be doing like, I don't know, 3 to 4 records a year, you know? And I think I was the happiest then when I was being that productive and writing stuff. You know, of course there were complications, but you know, it's really hard to say. You know, when you look back on your life, you can think that you were happy then, but when you're in those times, like, it's hard and struggling too. The past definition of happy for me, I think, is going to be different than the future definition of happy for me. All right, let's see what happens. How do you ride a bike? It's a little high. That's better. Oh, it's a little hard. Oh, what's going on here? Oh boy. This is called a bicycle? Is that what you said it is?
Why?
I'm used to a thing called a car. Major transitions. The vehicle, my big vehicle is gone. The band, all the stuff that I was doing, puppy, all these things gone. So I'm trying to form this new life in the same place. I'm seeing a therapist now. I don't know if you've ever seen a therapist before, but if you get a good therapist, it can be a really beneficial thing. As long as I'm open and honest with him and ask him questions about stuff, he can be really helpful in just helping me get back up again.
There's a hole in the back of my Bible where I keep my loaded rifle. When the words of the sermon he told me, seeds of the man who murdered.
I'm in a better place. Life is more manageable. Does Lexapro do anything for me? Can it drive the car? Can it make me go to work? No, I still have to do everything. But what it does is it shaves off the lower 10 to 20%, let's say, that big of a difference of depression and anxiety, and making life more dealable. At one point I was considering like getting either another pet or some goldfish or something like that, but right now I'm just trying to keep it nice and simple. I'm moving forward. I have my own apartment now, which is awesome. It's the first time in my entire life where I have my own apartment, and that's a great feeling. Tour the home. There's your bike, my bike. Here's my living room. Here's my bedroom. I bought one of these things. It works quite well.
How was downtown?
Very well. Went walking for a little bit, came back, eat some lunch, passed out. I want to brush my teeth. The hair. What to do about the hair? It's hard to know what to do about the hair. There's so many options. Now I gotta go to work.
Okay. Where are you working today?
Now I'm at Tycoon's.
What will you be doing?
I don't know. Either making salads or on the fryer, making desserts, doing the dishes. Hopefully salads. Hey, you can talk to Jason Wussow. She's making a documentary on Marc Gartman.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
That's interesting because when I first
Yeah,
met you, you
yeah.
were doing a documentary
On myself?
on Low.
On Low, okay.
So that's my first introduction to Marc Gartman, the documentarian now being documented.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It's for a class. It's for a class she's doing.
Oh.
And they said you could pick, I guess you could pick anyone to make a movie on it.
You're a good subject. I would make a movie of Marc Gartman if I had a wireless mic. And,
right. All
like,
you need,
endless
if I had a
time and-
wireless mic and absolutely nothing else to do, yeah, I'd make a movie.
If you're looking for trouble, honey, that's my name. If you're looking for trouble, honey, that's my name. If you're looking for trouble, who's gonna be with you? If you're looking for trouble, who's gonna be with you? If you're looking for trouble, who's gonna be with you? Honey, that's my name.
I have another little musical side project called Marc Gartman's Fever Dream, or just Fever Dream for short. Sort of mellow, psychedelic keyboard stuff, the complete opposite of the guitar and banjo stuff I do. I wear a dashiki, it's Middle Eastern dress, a yarmulke. I've got lights. It's all about establishing a mood and vibe. I don't really have any interest in touring with it or anything like that. I just want to make a cool project out of it. It's just another aspect of my musical personality, you know, something else I like to do.
I can't tell you what to think if you won't tell me mine. Don't pretend to understand if you don't have a mind.
I'm really interested in having Steve and Pollard and Jake and Al helping me put together a record, because I think it could be a really cool record, especially with those guys working on it.
Take it in stages, take your time. I'll never rush you, don't rush mine. God grant me this and I'll do fine.
How does the writing for this differ from your other projects, or like what's?
It's not very different. It's all very similar. It's all just about finding sounds that sound appeasing to my brain, you know? That's right. And there's all sorts of things that I gotta remember. It's different because I have to have notes and stuff like that. Without my notes, I wouldn't be able to remember everything. Fever Dream is a little bit more presentation. I wanted to make it a little bit more of a spectacle. About how long does this documentary need to be? 20 minutes?
15 to 25 minutes.
Whew, that's not so short.
I know. Pray for me.
What can I do to help? I want to help you to succeed. Do you have enough stuff? What do you have? You've got the gig with Tim and Dave. You've got the practice with Tim and Dave.
Yeah. The sound is pretty gummy. You look good though. You look nice.
I know. We've got the interview at the house little bit on the beach, maybe it was too windy. You need more action, though. This tunnel is my life. And there was a point a couple months ago, probably 2 months ago, 2-3 months ago, where I did not see the light at the end of the tunnel. Very depressed, borderline suicidal, very upset, very confused about the point of everything. But I was in the tunnel and I couldn't see anything. And now that I'm on Lexapro and working, I can see that there is potentially a light down there. Oh God! So yes, your film is about mental disorder as well. Who the hell doesn't have a mental disorder, though? My God. And how boring is their life?
Sing it to the sky, sing it with the air you breathe. There's nothing up above, there's only love between us all. So sing it to the sky, sing it with the air you breathe. There's nothing up above, there's only love between us all. Jeez. Not that you would believe me, you'll never believe me, you'll have to believe me soon until you do. I've been old and I've been young a single day. I've been old and I've been young a single day. When the day it did start, I did not have a broken heart. So I've been old and I've been young a single day. Even though I start my days on my knees, even though I start my days on my knees, when I end them too, well, they're always black and blue. Even though I start my days on my knees. I've been working in the fields all day long. I've been working in the fields all day long. And my hands have felt more mud and my horse seemed to run sun. I've been working in the fields all day long, till I caught my eye on the foreman's only girl. Till I caught my eye on the foreman's only girl. When the day did start, I did not have a broken heart. Till I caught my eye on the foreman's only girl. I've been old and I've been young a single day. I've been old and I've been young a single day. When the day did not have a broken heart. So I've been old and I've been young single day. So I've been old and I've been young single day. I've been old and I've been young single day. When the day is the start, I did not have a broken heart. So I've been old and I've been young single day. I've been old and I've been young single day. I've been old and I've been young single day.